Investigations year to date is at 25. I have our Granville Fire Department report, structure fires at 2, motor vehicle crashes at 2, fire alarms are 2, EMS assists at 1, hazardous conditions 4. Total alarms for the month of February is 18, and calls year to date is 36. I have our local ordinance officer report. I can open it. We have 4 verbal warnings issued. 1 has been referred to the courts. 1 building permit has been applied for, and 2 referred to code enforcement. No sidewalk applications and no demolition permits. From our village court, I have a report here. This is to certify my report for the month of February. A check for the amount of $2,309 was sent to the chief fiscal officer of the village of Granville on Saturday, March 1st. I have our water testing reports from Mr. Scott Mackey. We had a test done at 75 Quaker Street, 1 at 89 North Street, and 1 at 48 East Potter Avenue. All of the samples came back excellent. There is no problems with the water, and the village water is safe to drink. I need a motion to accept the reports as read.
I'll make a motion.
Heather makes the motion, Gordy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving along to our appropriations. In the general fund, we have $67,623.14. The sewer fund is at $18,634.73. Water fund is at $12,281.54. Senior shuttle, $1,095.40. Unaudited vouchers came in at $1,069.44. Total for the month is $100,704.25. I need a motion to pay the bills. Gordy makes the motion and Denise seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, everybody, moving along to our budget for this year. We took a good, hard, long look at this budget, and rising costs of everything has been going out of control. And as Trustee Hyatt and I were discussing, actually all of us were discussing, we don't even know, to be honest with you, the way there's so many radical changes going on. There's no way to pre-plan on anything. So the best thing we can do is aim high and keep working towards going lower all the time. We did crunch the numbers back down onto this budget. So this year we're looking at a 2.1% tax increase. This does show that we are tax compliant with New York State, and it's a little bit lower actually than what I was first assuming, and that we were working on this budget. I expected it to come in anywhere between 2.5 and 2.75, but thankfully with our department heads work on this and the trustees at our budget, we have come in right at about 2.1. Also, we will be increasing the sewer rents up $10 a year, and the water rents will be up $15 a year. So as tight of a budget that this is, I do see it funding all of our departments and giving them the tools that they need to work with our police department and our DPW. We have stretched as far as we could stretch anything else on this. There is copies of this budget online. We have a couple copies out back there, I think, left still. You can go to our village website and check it out. Probably tomorrow morning it'll be posted up there sometime in the morning. And this budget's being presented to you now. And again, we're looking at a 2.1% increase, and sewer rates at $10 increase, and water rates at $15 increase for the year. This budget will remain static for the next 30 days. It'll sit. And come at our next meeting, we will be having a budget hearing about this, a public hearing. If anybody wants to discuss it, to come in and speak their piece about the budget, that's the time to do it. And then we will be voting on it. So the budget, like I said, if you want a copy, we can give you a hard copy of it tonight if you need it. If not, it will be online tomorrow on our village website, and you can look it up and examine everything that's there. The increases mainly this year, believe it or not, is mainly it's not even the wages as much as it is our insurances and retirement programs for the state. Last year, as you know, we got quoted out about 12% for our insurance premiums at about this time of the year last year prior to our budget. And that's how we planned out our budget. And come June, when our new year starts, the bill came through in the insurance company at 28%. So we had to scramble, come up with some money, and it's a good thing we had a little bit of the ARPA money left to use because I really was at right up against the wall on that one. So again, like I said, we don't know the uncertainties that are out there right now. It's a very strange economy. Inflation is high, prices of everything has gone up, and I know that everybody feels it all the way around. But again, these are goods and services that we have for our police department and our sewer and our water and snow removal, mowing the lawns and everything through our DPW. So these are the services that we provide for the residents of the village of Granville, and services cost money. The insurance parts and the retirement parts are set by the state and things like that. We have no control over those. The electric bills, everybody's been complaining, and you know what your electric bills have been. When we have an electric bill that's running pumps at our power plants that come in anywhere, 3 to 5 thousand a month, and then all of a sudden they spike to 8 or 9, you don't even know. We don't even know what direction they can go. So we're planning for the worst, and you know we've got everything laid out as best that we can lay it out, and thank God that we've got an educated board here that's been through this many times, and I appreciate everybody's work on this, and especially our department heads for really whittling their budgets down to make it as best as we can so we don't have to have a severe increase in taxes. Again, we are tax compliant, and everybody is going to be funded. The budget or the art departments will be funded. So that being said, the budget has been presented. It's going to remain static for the next 30 days. We will be scheduling a public hearing on it. It will be at our April April 7th, correct? April 7th meeting, just prior, when the first thing when we open up, we'll be having a public hearing on the budget, and then we will proceed to vote. So there you have it. Okay, so moving on. For the mayor's reports, I'm going to introduce to everybody tonight. I might, Mr. Jack Mance. Jack, if you would like to stand up, introduce yourself to everybody. Jack has been working on our RARC grant for the Rails to Trails. And I'm going to turn the floor over to him, and he can give you a little demonstration on what we want. Do you need lights off or something, or down? Oh,
It's giving me a chance to talk.
okay.
So, yes, I'm Jack Hanson, I'm the Glenville Transportation Council. I'm their senior transportation planner, and they're all transportation planner. So, I was the staff in charge of these projects. I say projects, we've got two separate projects. One is analysis of the D&H rail connections, and the other was a request we got from Washington County DPW to look at County 24 and check the battery connections, so that we be servicing that shortly. But I wanted to take a look at that. So in order to do that, what we did was we handed it over to our consulting team at Martin and Hughes. We've got Dan Moore here, who handled the engineering and analysis. He's going to walk you through kind of a high level summary of everything. We did provide, hopefully you got a copy of it. And I think it looks like
There's a few more, and we can always get you one if you want. Anybody wants to see it as well.
let me turn it over to Dan and he can walk you through the presentation. Sure. All right.
So, yeah, as Jack said, this was kind of two projects, just geographically located pretty close, so they combined them as one project for us. There's three real project objectives that we were asked to look into. Uh, Resurfacing the D&H trail, what type of materials, how much that would cost. Complete streets improvements for County Route 24. The county is planning to come through and repave the road, and they wanted AGFTC to look into what other pedestrian and bicycle improvements could be done before or while they do that project, just so it's a one project, not pave it and then back later on. Um, and also, we were asked to look at how to improve the rail trail crossings of the roadways in the village and town. So the rail trails in orange line, that's the extent of the rail trail limits that we've looked into. I think 124 is the green and the blue line. The green lines are where there's existing sidewalks. So we looked into what's the condition of the existing sidewalks, what needs to be done to make them ADA accessible. And the blue is kind of the no man's land where there's no connections right now. So we looked at how to provide sidewalk connections in there and what ultimately what that would cost. So within that middle section, the blue section is where the Amazon warehouse is.
Oh, okay.
So through our field work and what we looked at on site, the sidewalk would best be placed on I guess that's the east side of the road. To obviously Amazon warehouse is primary driver in the area that will provide a direct connection to the warehouse. And also, just you can see on the map, the red line is the rail trail. It's real close proximity to County 24. So while we were asked to look at how we provide bicycle and pedestrian improvements to County 24, uh, when you really look at the roadway, it's really difficult to provide bicycle improvements on that roadway without expanding the right of way, or you're crossing a lot of driveways into private property. So it made a lot more sense that the rail trail is right there. The primary driver in the area is Amazon warehouse and then getting to the village. So the green lines are where we saw opportunities to disconnect the rail trail to County 24, leave County 24 as it is as far as the tribal way, and then provide sidewalks on one side of the road. Um, and one thing we noted is how would we cross people if they are using the rail trail? How are we going to get them to the warehouse? So we figured out the location shown here is the best place for a crossing of the road. The blue line is what we identified as possible connection. It's a privately owned road, but it's something that could be looked into in the future if that's a possibility of a shared use type facility in order to get people from the bike trail over to the road. And then the yellow line connect up to a straight crossing across the road. And then a real quick sketch that I put together of how that would look, just where the sidewalk would need to be to get you to a crossing of the road. We would propose that or recommend flashing warning signs, beacons to identify or promote that that's there to people driving on the road.
So how wide is that county right away off the center line?
The county right away varied from 50 feet to 55 feet. It varied quite a bit, but I would say 50 feet generally the average.
Not from center, total.
Yeah.
It's 25 feet usually from center.
And it, what we looked at, this is a planning study, so we didn't do full engineering or survey yet, but tax maps do show kind of, it's not exactly centered on the road, just as development probably happened over the years, or Usually you can follow where the utility poles are as a guide to how the right of way goes. It, it kind of like goes in and out as you follow them.
How how wide is the D&H right away? How wide is the trail right away? Does that meander and vary too?
Now that varies great. There's areas where it's over 100 feet wide, and then it narrows down to show.
Where they would have a spur or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally, be honest, I'd rather see the sidewalk right on 24. I was trying to cut across and maintain that D&H in the middle of the winter with people trying to use snowmobiles and all. I don't think it'd be very effective to walk away myself personally.
We are proposing sidewalks all along 24,
Good.
but this was just a way
Access
Like
the
it.
trail.
Okay.
to access the
Okay,
trail. Assuming that people working at the warehouse, maybe they want to bike to work as an alternate means.
Well, we also have, River Valley Drive down. It'd be nice to have those sidewalks tie everything all together with Amazon and the rest of the village too, because as you guys see, it's just driveways and wide open. It's not safe.
Yep, yep. Um, so
But I like what you're proposing. 'Cause that makes it kind of nice because you can come down the rails and trails, go down the sidewalk, come back around, and make a circle. When you're out walking in recreational, I like. It's a really good thought.
we did put together cost estimates, part of our scope. So, we broke up the sidewalk between the sidewalks shown up here. So so we have it. Construction total, that's just straight item with construction materials. And then we broke it down at the bottom of our private contractor, that's more of if the town contracted directly with the contractor. And then federal aid costs at the bottom are if you want to get a grant. Federal aid grants require engineering, surveying, a lot of other soft costs. So those costs are at the bottom. We have all those in the report too, but if you want to pursue grants, the bottom line numbers are for the one that you want to use to make sure you're covered for all the costs that we incurred on the project.
And also, just to sense that, because this is a county highway, we're not expecting, there's no obligation or any kind of indication that you guys, obviously, it's not even the village, a big portion of this. These are the numbers put together for the county.
Mhm.
And then the whole length of that project too.
Yeah, the whole, all the way to the Granville, so.
And this has been presented to the county too. Obviously, this piece is something that's specifically asked for, so. I say they're contemplating that as part of the project.
You see, what we do is make the table real small, so the big numbers look smaller.
Because I'm straight in just to read what I got, then I know what's on the wall.
When prevailing rate hits your pig anyways, so.
So, the other piece of the project was rail trail crossings. There's a sketch of two of them, the ones that would require a little more work. So, this is kind of 24 crossing, which right now it's kind of skewed, which makes it a longer crossing. So we're recommending that make it as perpendicular as possible to shorten up that crossing. You would have to make that kind of zigzag Z shape to connect the trail over, make the shorter crossing. But because of the volumes and the speeds on County Road 24, we would recommend the flashing pedestrian beacons be installed just to highlight that crossing is there. I don't know if you're familiar with those or not, but you have to push the button and then they flash.
I'm trying to get them from the state now for 3 years. Yeah.
But that would be a good location for those signs with the crosswalk being updated and ramps so people on bikes also know that hey, you're approaching a roadway.
I think it's great that you certainly, when we did the first original Rails to Trails, and I can remember, well, Dan used to be our superintendent there. One thing we forgot about was signage. Because there was nobody knew where to stop, and where to go anywhere. And literally, you could go to a snowmobile, and all of a sudden you're in the side of a car. Luckily, it didn't happen to us, but Dan caught it and said, "This ain't very safe." So we made that adjustment. But it was good to have money to do all those signs.
Yeah,
So it's great to see, especially on County Route 24. I think it's 35 miles an hour, but
yeah, people are driving with that in there. That area it's pretty straight too. So, yeah. The other crossing that I point out, it's the same scenario where if you make that crossing more perpendicular, we'll shorten it up quite a bit, is on Church Street. Um, and again, that's another location with higher volumes, where it's recommended to put those flashing beacon signs and with mid-crosswalk striping and appropriate signage for vehicles. That's what we're we were at looking at up to it was 7 total crossings. So main, let's see, Water Street, Morrison Ave, East Potter, those ones, they're more local road crossings, where we're recommending just update the signage to be pedestrian and warning signs or let vehicles know that there's a crossing there, not the flashing beacons at those locations. In Andrews Lane, just signage that's more of a gravel dirt road anyway, so there's no striping. So I provided estimates for each one individually, and then a total cost. So if this is something you really want to pursue, you can pursue this as one big project, as a grant. So definitely propose that as a grant. That's that bottom one umbrella to the right. That what that number would be. Or if you want to tackle these one by one, just if it fits within capital budget for public works project. Um, that you just knock off one by one the smaller models there. And we had one other piece of the project. So we assessed the whole corridor up to the Vermont line, so a little over 8 miles. So just a quick sketch of what we look at for trail width, clear width of what you should have next to the trail that's clear just for safe bicycling. And these are, 3 representative pictures of what we saw out there. And we used what the available width is there now, and what would need to be cleared to come up with appropriate cost estimates for how to resurface the trail. So we looked at, hey, if you wanted to completely change this and make it an asphalt trail, that'd be on the left. That's more kind of a bikeway picture, I believe. And on the right is more of a crushed down surface, which right now it's stone dust type trail, but it's been overgrown over the years. Crushed stone surface is a little more durable. And the picture from Minnewaska State Park on the right. So these are the cost estimates that we want to resurface the trail, which it's a long trail corridor, so the numbers were big, but the asphalt trail is more expensive, bringing asphalt. The crushed stone surface, it's like $1 million less than the $3 million for the asphalt. But if this is something that would want to be pursued, we've also provided cost per mile estimates if you wanted to. This is something that the village would like to look into and you want to piece by piece make improvements. Just for planning purposes, we provided those numbers below.
Now, does this project trigger any speedies permits?
Trigger any, like if you were to go and do
Yeah, I mean, as long as this trail is, I'm sure it's over an acre of disturbance. If we were to do something, is that going to trigger a speedies permit? Or are we good?
it would require a general permit. Yeah, it'd be covered under the general permit.
And if we stick with the stone, we have a permeable surface. If we go with the blacktop, the hard surface, what they're going to look at, we're going to have to make adjustments because of the blacktop as far as stormwater runoff.
Yes, but recreational projects are exempt from post-construction stormwater treatment.
Good.
So you would just have to do the erosion and sediment control during construction, but you wouldn't have to add, like, if it's a road project, it's a different story. Or
Yeah.
you have to add some sort of stormwater treatment. You would have to do that for a recreational project.
Really?
Yes.
So just to clarify though, the asphalt surface on this and the crushed stone top course, how tight does that pack? I mean, is it basically going to be like what we have now? Like with the cinders? I know that they've packed pretty well over the years and people walking on them driving. So is that what the crushed stone surface is basically going to be?
Yeah, so what we showed and what we've used on other projects and what we estimated it's crushed stone with clay binder, so the clay kind of binds the surface course materials together, and then it's rolled with a roller.
So it's like a sure pack, they call it, like a tight driveway.
Kind of like that with clay instead of, the gravel as the binding material.
And again, you're gonna, over the years, you're gonna get weed growth and grass and everything come back through that, right?
If it's not maintained,
Yeah.
but if it's used and maintained, it should be.
I just know the chemical use of trying to control
We'll give them a box drag for the back of
Yeah.
their lawnmower, they can drag it, but
that could be a
I
nightmare.
mean, I'm amazed. I mean, back then when Danny did part of that between Morrison and Church, we blacktop it.
Mhm.
I said, I'll go to crap real quick, but I mean, it held up great because the base, that railroad bed is incredible.
Yeah,
And nothing
it's
moves
right
on it.
there. So
Yeah, it's been
But to this day, I don't think there's any really cracks in there, Dan. It's really held up good. It's been 15 years probably.
yeah, and most of the ballast is air fluids and
Yeah.
to drain water down instead of drain it up. So
cool.
So what am I seeing? 2 million down there? 2,000,005?
yeah, so also the third column, we were asked to just provide a cost estimate of what it would cost to light the trail. It's not what I did now, so that's a big number in itself. But yeah, if you wanted to go with crushed stone surface for that whole 8 miles with ancillary improvements that are doing about 2 million.
And again, you're talking 8 miles. This is an intersection of the town and the village and us also cutting into Vermont, correct?
It stops at the border.
You're
What we looked at stops at the border.
okay.
Oh, it starts at the border before it goes into Vermont. And does it go all the way south? How far south does it go?
The border's about halfway between um going south from the switch road to West Pollitt.
Okay,
The road is, or the border is about halfway between there, and then there's a border marker there.
Okay.
But that's what I was going to ask. Does that you're talking to the border north when you say to the border, right? Through Pulteney or towards Pulteney Way, Pulteney, Vermont.
confusing when I was reading the information.
It is a little confusing because we're the slice that's inside New York State is right along the edge of the New York border, but it wanders back into Vermont on both ends.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, see right there where that line ends, right by the quarries. See all the quarries on the right, Denise?
Mhm.
That yellow line is the end. That's the border where it cuts into Vermont.
Okay, so it's only the one end.
So it's about halfway to Pollitt, West Pollitt.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's about. Yeah, because from there it wanders in and then it's into Vermont all the way. All right, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess hope you're not any questions or any.
Well, we've been asking them right straight through. Just like in your demonstration, but you've answered the questions that I needed to know. But
So just to follow on what the next step was working, because this came through AGITC, we are on all the verification stuff, yeah. So unless there's any objections from looking at out here, what we will do is post these on our website, tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. To Wednesday, these will be posted on our website. We usually do a minimum of 14 days of public comment for something like this. I would do 30.
Yep.
You're welcome to cross-post it on your website or just put a link or whatever you want to do. I can, talk to Dee and Rick and figure that out. But after that point, if we get comments, we will address them. We have a steering committee, which was made up of us, Rick Roberts, Elizabeth Hoffman from the hospital, DPW folks, and some folks from Washington County Planning. So if we get any substantive comments, we'll bring it back to that group, hash it out. We probably won't get, this isn't a super controversial thing, it's pretty straightforward, but if we do, we'll make revisions and let them know. But the village itself, you don't have to do anything with this. You don't have to adopt it or endorse it or anything anyway. It's really just for your information. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to after it goes through our process.
that's good.
Thank you.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. And I appreciate the time and energy that you've been putting into this so far. And again, this is going to be a wonderful addition to our community and it serves to bring in more people to use and access the bicycle trail and all the businesses that we can get attracted to that. So again, I thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Find my glasses here. Right now, we're going to enter public comment session. If you have any comments that you would like to make, please address the board as a whole. Comments, you are allowed to speak for 5 minutes. This is not a question and answer period, but if you do have something to say, please address the board, and now is your chance. Does anybody would like to guess? Pete?
When you put up project of power fund, electricity, I understand that, seeing through complaints on Facebook, including my residents, it's got out double and triple. Is there anything that we can do as a community complain to our legislators and the power authority about, and we sign a petition? I don't know, something to make it known that people in our community are hurting about this. This is this is ludicrous.
Right.
I understand that it's going up another 15-20% next year.
Yep. I hear your complaints on that, and I've actually called to the headquarters down in Binghamton, New York. I talked to one of the representatives, Melanie Putnam, and it's basically, and Rick has been doing research on this as well, and it's not just NYSEG. I want everybody to know that this is Con Ed, this is every power of the authority that's in New York State. What this basically boils down to is mandated basically green energy that was then pushed onto the utility companies by the state. State laws have been passed and pushed, just very similar to what they do to the villages and towns and small communities. The state mandates these things to be done without funding them. So what do? You raise the tax. What do? You raise the power bill. You raise this to pay for it. The problem is that they were supposed to be in place and operational, but the technology is not there yet to do this. So the power companies are forced to pass this on because again, they have to pay the state, or the state's going to fine them if they're not using X amount of green energy as opposed to fossil fuel energy. It's a major issue. And yes, I encourage you to call, you know, anybody. Yeah, I would call the governor. Well, I'm just thinking
Well,
more like our,
my deaf ears there, so you might want to.
yeah, call Matt Simpson, our state assemblyman. Um, Jake Ashby's office as well. Um, Congressional representation, anybody that you can get on the horn with it, because they are doing this as well. Con Ed, NYSEG, all the power suppliers are fighting back on this too, because they are fielding all these complaints. And again, the state just sits back and says, oh, just pay it. They don't want to hear about it. But the laws have to be changed. And, again, this is part of the things where we don't know where really we stand now. The new presidential administration coming in, and things are happening very rapidly. There's no doubt about that. I think you're going to see some major changes coming down the pipeline as far as state funding comes from the federal government. Good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to happen. And we just basically sitting around waiting to see where the fallout lands. So I would encourage you to contact your state assemblyman, Matt Simpson. If anybody needs any contact information on that, we do have it right in my office. Yes, call them, complain. They are your representatives. I wish that I could give you more information on that, but that's basically what we have found out through NYSEG ourselves for our local residents. And it is an amazing price increase that some of these people are going through, like your business. And I can't imagine something like what Telescope or Saint Gobain is experiencing on some of these power bill increases. But it's very painful. I see it in the people down at the bottom end. They're struggling and working hard and trying to just buy a dozen eggs nowadays, and they got to get whacked with an $800 electric bill. It's actually a little crazy. But I would complain and push the buttons as fast as you can and as hard as you can. Uh, Kathy Hochul herself has got some answering to do clean across this state. And I'm not afraid to say it. And it's about time people stand up and start fighting back a little bit. From our prison guards to our power authority to taxation without representation. Um, we're not New York City's babysitter. They can take care of themselves as far as I'm concerned. And upstate New York has to start standing back and fighting back. So I encourage you all, as I do, anytime I can. Uh, I'm constantly bending poor Matt Simpson's ear, but he knows that's what he's there for, and Jake Ashby himself. So I do encourage everybody to do that. Okay, anybody else?
But I'll add on to that, Pete, that's the big driving factor where their water and our sewer rents going up, the power. And if you sit here at these meetings month after month, what do you see in the water and sewer? Transfer. You know, we put these budgets together, you kind of look at a 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 year pattern, how things run. Who the hell would ever project that? Last year, we knew that we ran out of good power and that good rate, but we never anticipated to see the numbers we're seeing right now. It's crazy. I mean, my little wife's shop across from you, I think the bill went up 600%. That little tiny shop, and that's just a small shop. But for you guys in the business, and like Paul said, it's brutal out there. You know, $2,000 or $3,000 electric bills I'm seeing. It's insanity.
It's embarrassing. It's not insanity. It's pure embarrassment because you could go right across the street in the state of Vermont, who I would think is probably the most greener state that there is around here. Our power bills are nowhere near what they are here in New
You
York
haven't.
State.
I mean, I asked my wife at the lake, "What's the bill for them? $100, $100, $100." But here in the village, I'm seeing $400, $500. It's just crazy. I don't get it.
Operating a slate mill in the state of Vermont at three-phase power at 480 amp service that's bringing in, we're running 6 30 horsepower motors, and I get an electric bill for $248 for the month, and my house is 496 in New York State. So yeah, it's a good complaint. It's a solid complaint, and it's a real complaint. The governor has to start paying attention to what's going on in the state. She's going to be looking for a new job real quick.
She just does not care about upstate New York. It's quite obvious.
No, it's very obvious.
She carries Buffalo, carries the city. That's all she worries about.
Okay. Moving on. We have one order of business to take care of here. I have a resignation letter from Mrs. Shelley Smith. Dear Mayor Labus, this note is intended to inform you that I am resigning my position on the Village Planning Board of Granville, New York. She has served the community well for many, many, many years. Her and her wife Gordy are both retiring, or her husband Gordy are both retiring, and they're actually down there in Florida. Gordy's on the thing here right now, so I need a motion to accept Shelley's resignation letter.
I'll make that motion. We accept the following resignation.
I'll second.
Dean makes the motion, and Denise second. In the same tone here, I also would like to appoint Russ Bronson as the chairman of the planning board now. He has been sitting on the planning board for a very long time now. So to fill that slot, I would like to make a motion to appoint Russ.
That's your job.
Oh, that is my job. Sorry, planning board. So I'm going to be appointing Russ Bronson as the chairman of the planning board. Okay. And one more thing before we adjourn tonight, I got a little statement here. Gordy, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So before we adjourn for the evening, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and recognize the service of Deputy Mayor Gordy Smith here. Tonight is Mayor Smith's last meeting following 25 years of committed service to the village of Granville. Gordy was first elected in March of 1999 when he served under Mayor Tom Scott. He subsequently served as deputy mayor under Jay Niles, Brian LaRose, and myself. 25 years has brought their pretty fair share of challenges and accomplishments, but Gordy's never been afraid to shoulder the weight and speak his mind. During Gordy's term of service, he participated in efforts to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant 3 times, construct a new water plant and upgrade numerous mains, upgrade our main plow truck, purchasing of a new loader, and numerous police vehicles over the years. Gordy was a sound voice of reason throughout the pandemics, and he steadied us through the Hurricane Irene, which was very drastic. And he always went the extra mile volunteering and introducing our bands at our concert series in the park. He did the auditing of our village court system and helped the village to forge partnerships with the school, the Chamber of Commerce, and numerous civic organizations. We often say that one of our most important jobs as village officials here is to strive to make Granville a better place to live, work, and play. Granville is certainly better off today as the result of Gordy's service, and I'd like to say that your mission, Gordy, has been accomplished. We wish you and Shelley both the very best as you enter the next chapter of your life, and I hope that you'll all join me in providing a round of applause for the Deputy Mayor and Shelley. Happy retirement. Thank you very much, Gordy. You want to say anything?
So, thank you so much for those kind words. It certainly has been an honor and a pleasure to serve on the village board. I'd like to especially honor this year's boards, yourself, Paul, and Denise, and Dean, and Heather. It's been, like I say, an honor and a pleasure that we're all working together to make Granville a better place to live, work, and recreate. The last being recreating, all I can think of is that, there's a craze of waving across the nation, and that craze, sports craze is pickleball. And instead of having to drive to Rutland or Glencoe, Granville has its own pickleball court due to the progressive actions of the current board and help from our engineer, Jason. So it just proves that working together, you can get a lot of things done. I'd like to wish the candidates in this coming election, to wish them well for the elections of Denise and Heather. And I especially like to wish a new candidate, the candidate that will be taking my seat, Paul Grown, wish him well. And I know he's a fine young man, and he will fill in the seat very well. He's already very active in the community, and he'll continue to do well serving Granville. So with that said, I'd just like to say I'm going to miss all you guys, and I will see you around.
Thank you, Gordy. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
Thanks, Gordy.
Thank you, Gordy.
Okay, I don't have anything for executive session, and with that, I'm going to close public comment and everything else. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Come on.
Heather makes a motion, and Gordy